Are you still bothered by the fact that you often die suddenly when farming? Are you still in despair about not passing black sale? Other people earn 10,000 FE a day, while you are stuck at time market, farming only a couple hundred FE a day? Don't feel bad, don't worry, now's your chance. Join the Bleeding Rosa and experience the ultimate treasure dropping game. Not much to say. Let's get right to it. Before explaining this build, I'd like to explain the source of the damage first. First, you need a soul candle that makes you gain trauma. It's a negative effect, gains trauma with 1200 base damage upon dealing physical damage. Then through plaguing talent, spread trauma to targets nearby. Finally, reap DLT damage through reap purification. In this way, you achieve a closed loop. Now we've finished the source of the damage, let's turn to the gear. You may discuss about the gear, talent, and slate of this build in the comments below. The main thing in the gears is main hand weapon, and the prefix of the main hand weapon is the most important one. You must make sure these three prefixes are T0 or T1. Adding physical damage of the main hand weapon to base trauma damage, adding physical damage to the gear, and additional gear physical damage. Low configured ones can consider some reduction. Why is this important? Because this build source of damage is trauma damage. Base trauma damage is the physical damage of main hand weapon. So the higher the physical damage of the main hand weapon, the higher the trauma damage. My recommendation is that make these 3 T0. For the weapon suffix, you can choose Affliction Effect and Reaping's cooldown recovery speed, or reaping 1 second of DOT damage. This one can be T2 or higher, or additional trauma duration. As to critical strike damage, I recommend that you choose it after you have vial. Because if there's no vial, you can't get the bonus of critical strike damage. The shield. Legendary Antenna is a must. It's not expensive now. If you look configured, you can choose the wrongly corroded one. If you can, corrode it and get this affix, adding physical damage of the main hand weapon to trauma damage. The required affixes of the ring are Elemental and Erosion Resistance of T0, T0 Affliction Effect and T0 Armor. For your armor, make sure one of your rings got the T0 relevant affix. The requirement for another ring can be a bit lenient. Otherwise, it's hard to reach the standard of 65,000 armor. I'll tell you why later. Then the rest can make up the resistance. You can choose armor and defense for the prefixes. Life regeneration speed is also fine. You can act on Reaping's cooldown recovery speed. It is written here, in the shield. The life regeneration speed bonus is also applied to Reaping's cooldown recovery speed. For the belt, I recommend Conqueror Girdle. It adds base armor, or belt that can add life regeneration speed. The required affixes are Elemental Resistance of T0, Affliction Effect of T0, decreasing damage taken at low mana of T1, and T1 additional defense from chest armor. There's an affix that had to be T2 or higher, reaping DIT damage when dealing DIT damage. If you don't have this, your damage will be decreased. But it's still okay if you don't have one. As to the shoe for farming, I recommend Shadow Dance. If you're going to challenge difficult levels, then I recommend King's Boon. When it comes to the gloves, you'd better choose Long Night Sorcerer's Wristband. It helps you to restore mana. That way, you don't have to think about running out of mana. The necessary affix is T0 spell block chance, T1 block ratio and T1 reaping DIT damage. The spell skill level in the middle is unnecessary. Recommended affixes. For prefix, replace spell skill level with gear energy shield. Spell skill level is of no use at all. Suffixes can be used for complementing resistance. For necklace, I recommend Exquisite Box. Now the wrongly corroded one is not expensive, about 100 Flame Elementium. If you really don't have much FE, Master Defender Pendant is also okay. Legendary Mirror Eternity is a must as your clothes. Mirror Eternity is a little expensive now. It costs about 500 to 600 FE. This is the reason why I say that armor mustn't be less than 65,000. If it's below 65,000, you can't get the effect of 100% life regeneration speed. So always make sure your armor is above 65,000. There's nothing controversial about this gear. It's a must. My recommended helmet is Dragon Guardian's Face Guard. You can increase armor. Required affixes or T0 additional armor. Gain a barrier when receiving damage of T1. Sealed mana of T1. And additional gear armor that is above T3. Otherwise, armor might not be enough. Other recommended affixes are decreasing damage dealt by enemies in proximity, and affliction effect or aura effect. All of them are okay. Go through the talents. Basically, people all choose like this. Goddess, F Deception. Psychic. If you have full defense in the Slate or Soul Candle, you may consider Steel Vanguard or Warlock. Otherwise, choose Ronin. To get full defense, I recommend Steel Vanguard. Let me explain Reflection for you. Considering aura effect will add sealed mana. Some low configured players can't withstand it. So I recommend you choose Curtain. Adding Barrier Shield is a way to increase survival. If you have enough sealed mana, you may choose Reflection. Choose Knowledgeable as your suffix. This build includes 3 defensive skills in talents: Sealed Mana Decrease, Armor and Elemental Resistance. And the most important one, Tenacity Blessing. In all, you get 5 stacks of Tenacity Blessing, which provides high damage mitigation. Also erosion resistance here. I recommend that you choose Steel Vanguard. Required slates are plus 1% block ratio for every 7% life lost. There has to be 5 of this. Then percentage trauma damage. 0.2 second after inflicting bleed. Rates 0.1 second of DOT damage from nearby enemies. It's not that one with a 6-second cooldown. Cooldown is 2 seconds. Don't get wrong. The more of this, the better. I'm sure there will be a lot of this if you had Sparks of Moth Fire. For those who are low configured, you need 5 of this, plus 1% block ratio for every 7% life lost. 1 trauma damage would also work. Then there are the main talents. Ember Armor or Full Defense. Full Defense should be either in your talents or in your slates. Slates increasing damage like Vile and Blunt both work. Recommended a corner of Divinity. Additional percentage armor and additionally block damage, up to 500. Or additional percentage armor and adding 0.5% of armor to Barrier Shield. Or restoring life, energy shield, and mana when blocking. I'll go through the skills. When farming, you can change Stat Stalker to Blurry Steps. There's no restraint, and as I have said before, replace Reflection with Curtain. Make sure your sealed life is under 10. I've already said about Soul Candle. Gaining trauma upon dealing physical damage is the core source of damage. Full defense. If you have it in your slates, you don't need it here. Otherwise, choose it for your Soul Candle. Adds 40 to 45 physical damage to the main hand weapon. I recommend this affix. It brings great payback. Now let me explain the trait. Nothing's changed. Or choose the first one. If you're the same with me, which means you choose between the Holy Land and Hell, then you can consider replacing Desperation with Improvision. It adds 20% block ratio upper limit, making block ratio upper limit 80%. Relic is bad night role model. I suggest you to unlock the first and second engram. If you're low configured, just the first engram is also fine. The more damage all enemies take, the better. I choose 13% additional damage here. It is up to 15%. The Sanctity of the Holy Land is the necessary memory. The memory and relic work together. Just change one more button, and you can fire the map with one click. Other memories like restoring missing life and energy shield when blocking, plus adding Murderous Intent upper limit, or adding Murderous Intent upper limit plus additional damage for all enemies, are both okay. The advantage of this build is that the survival is super high, and you won't die suddenly. 8 to 48 space and 4 C5 are both easy for you. The drawback is also obvious. You have to hang on for a while to see the damage when dummy testing. If you can't accept it, don't copy it. That's all for this video. Leave any questions in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Your support is my greatest motivation. Thank you.